Welcome to another episode of the Home-Based Business Success Podcast. And good morning. This is Ralph here, and welcome to the Home-Based Business Success Podcast. We are back. I took about a little bit over a year off, got away from Spreaker, and I thought I would try out some other podcasting services. And man, I just wasn't happy at all with the quality of those services and the tools that they had. And I just thought I would just come back to Spreaker, pick up our old format that I had left behind, and just go ahead and run with this because, man, Spreaker has a lot of the good tools and bells and whistles that I really got used to. And it just makes it so simple. I'm recording this podcast now off of my smartphone. And I mean, it just makes it so easy. I was really kind of foolish to leave it behind a year ago. And so we are back, and I'm going to get back into the habit of doing regular podcasts. And just like we used to before I foolishly decided to experiment around with other things, which normally, is a good thing. But when you got something that's already pretty darn good and you leave it behind to kind of sort through free garbage, it doesn't really make sense. So I've learned my lesson, and I am back with Spreaker. So with all that being said, today's topic is how I got started in home-based business. And I got thinking about this topic, because a couple days ago, a guy reached out to me on X. And I was advertising one of our masterminds that we have in the home-based business opportunity that I am in. And he wanted to know, please tell me how I get started in home business. And I answered him back. I sent him a message asking, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where do you live? What part of the world do you live in? And what are your interests? Because I was wanting to see if I could match him up with any kind of opportunities that might be helpful to him in his geographic location and something that would match his interests besides just wanting to make money online. And he never wrote me back, and I got thinking about that. I got thinking, okay, what was he really expecting? And I think what most people expect is some sort of a magic wand, some sort of a silver bullet, some sort of a magic thing that they can use to just click on, tap into, and make money right away. And home-based business is not like that. It takes work, it takes dedication, it takes some planning before you really get going in it very well. And it takes long-term commitment in order to make it pay off. And I mean, I've been doing home-based business in one form or another for the past 13 years. And I thought in this episode, I would really just share how I got started in home-based business to give any newbies out there who might be listening to this podcast an idea of the level of commitment that it really takes, and let people know that this way of life is definitely not for everybody. Not everybody is cut out to be an entrepreneur, and not everybody really has the stamina to get into home-based business and also be working a full-time job on the side, because if you're not making any money right now, home-based business may not make you money right away. So you got to have something to be paying the bills while you are building your business. And that's how I got started. And there is a quote that Jim Rohn gave many years ago when Jim Rohn said, "Work harder on yourself than you do on your job." And that is definitely what I did 13, 14, probably about 15 years ago when I got my first home-based business started up, and I was doing it part-time at that time. I went full-time in home-based business 13 years ago, but there was about a 2-year period before that where I was experimenting and just doing home business part-time while I was still working a full-time job. And then I finally got up the nerve to go into home-based business full-time and tell my boss goodbye. But how I got started and why I got started really is that I was working a full-time job that was 63 miles away from where I live. And it was kind of I don't really want to say dead-end job. If I thought that in the beginning, I never would have stayed there for 3 years. But it was a job that had kind of limited future potential, let's just say. And it was a 63-mile drive one way, so it was over 120 miles round trip that I was putting into it, 5 days a week. And the only thing that really made me want to commit to that full-time job for any length of time was that I had put in my application for management position with the company. And I was under the impression that I was being considered for a management level position. And so I thought, while I'm waiting for this position to open up, I'll go ahead and start working as an employee. And my idea was you learn the company from the bottom up. And I thought that was a pretty good idea. So I was working for minimum wage, traveling over 120 miles a day, 5 days a week, putting in an 8-hour day, actually doing the work on the job. And then we had a 1-hour break for lunch where I would just sit there, eat lunch, and then try not to fall asleep for the rest of the lunch period. And then about a 3-hour drive back and forth. So, man, I was putting in about a 12-hour day just on that job. So by the time I got home, after 9 hours on the job and, 3-hour drive time total, it's like all I wanted to do was just go to bed and sleep and then wake up the next morning, get some breakfast, watch a little TV, and then go back into that job again. And I did that for 1 year. And I thought, things were going fair. Not really spectacular. It was a job that truly was a just over broke. A lot of people say J-O-B, job. That stands for just over broke. And in my case, that actually hit the nail on the head. It was kind of a just over broke. But it showed some potential to kind of expand. And so I thought, how can I continue to afford to work for this company? Because we got to the point where I was having trouble affording the gas money to get into work, plus, keep oil in the car, keep the car fixed up. I ran through a set of tires after 1 year of traveling back and forth to that position. And so I thought, what can I do? Because I didn't want to go out and get a second job. I didn't have the time for that. But what kind of a service can I provide in my local area to provide a second income from home that would essentially kind of pay me gas money because it was costing me about $20? About 20. Well, at that time, gas was lower. So I would say about $20 a week. And I thought, man, if I can generate an extra, $20, $30 a day, that would be a tremendous help. So I sat down, I brainstormed. I thought, okay, what can I do in my spare time, which I didn't have that much of, that I could use to generate a second income from home? And I got looking at my skills. I got looking at what kind of equipment I had around the house. And I got looking at the needs in my local community. So I did a little bit of planning there. And I saw where we live, we have mostly retired people, old folks, in their 70s, 80s, in that age bracket, who are not really able to take care of their homes that well, not really able to take care of their lawns that well. So I thought I could launch a seasonal business doing lawn care for retired folks in my area because, where we live, it's a very impoverished area. That's why I had to travel 120 miles plus round trip every day to find a halfway decent paying job that was still just keeping me just over broke. We live in a very beautiful area. I mean, you heard people call it God's country. Heard that expression about, places out there away from the city. This is God's country. And yeah, this is beautiful. We have great wildlife. We have great scenery. The Missouri Ozarks are just a beautiful place to live, to retire if you've got money. But if you're broke looking for a job, it's not a very good place to be. But the retired people in our area, they had steady incomes thanks to Social Security and any other kind of retirement plans that they had before they retired. So I thought, okay, what I can do is I can figure out how long it's going to take me to mow an average sized lawn with the equipment that I had on hand, which was a push lawn mower, a weed whacker, some basic tools, an oil can, a gas can, and a station wagon that I could throw everything in the back of. And I thought, okay, how long is it going to take me to mow an average sized lawn? So my mom and dad, they've got they had, when they were still alive, about a 3-acre spread. So I volunteered to mow the bottom acre by hand. And I would go out there and I would push the mower and I would just time myself and figure, okay, doing a good job, top speed, not messing around, but still spending enough time to do a decent job mowing the lawn. How long is it going to take me to do, this size of this big of an area? And so I got that figured out. And then that gave me the information that I would need to be able to bid out lawn care jobs. I got to the point where I could just drive to a home, talk to the owner, and take a look at the lawn and just quote them a price. And be fairly accurate in, how much it would cost me to do the job, how much it would pay me to do the job after expenses. And I got to the point where, I could size up a lawn pretty good and just kind of look it over and say, I could do that for like $25 or $30 or $50, or whatever. And people really loved my price. So I got to the point where after advertising in the local newspaper, I was able to get enough lawn care jobs to really pay me to go into work to my other full-time job, plus have some extra to spend on other things, like oil, tires, maybe a little better food for myself and my wife, maybe even a little bit of money to put into savings. And so I did that for about a season. And maybe, actually, I think it was more like 2 seasons anyway. But anyway, I got doing that. And I was really doing fairly well. In the off season, I didn't have any money coming in from the second job, for the home business job that I built up. But I did have enough money that I was making in the spring and the summer and in the fall to really keep us going. And in the winter, I just kind of laid low. And then spring, I just went right back to it. And I was putting in about 12 hours a day on my full-time job. And then I would say about another 4 hours a day doing the home-based business. And so, yeah, I really did not have much time to really fool around. When I was back at home, I was just there to sleep, or just there to eat a little bit of breakfast, sleep, get back up, go out to either the full-time job or the home business job that I had created. And so didn't really have much time to do much of anything. But I did gain a lot of experience. And I was focusing on that quote from Jim Rohn, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because I was halfway thinking in the back of my mind, if this full-time job, if this management position doesn't pan out, I can always take this home-based job and scale it to the point where this can become my primary job. And so I had that thought in the back of my mind. So eventually, one day, I got called into the manager's office, and they were doing interviews. They had the area manager, one of the area managers, coming through, interviewing the employees to find out what we thought about the company and what changes, we wanted to see the company make and things like that. And so I thought, this would be neat. I'm getting paid 20 minutes to go in, talk to the area manager, and just tell them what I think about the company, and maybe get a chance to ask a few questions myself about the possibility of me being promoted to a management level position. And so that day was a real game changer for me, because I walked into that office and we went through the interview process, and I told them, what I thought, and told them, I was happy to be an employee there, and I was eager to work my way up. And then I just asked point blank. I said, I've had my application in for a management level position for the last, I think at that time it was like 2 or 3 years. And I just wanted to know, where am I at in that process? And I will never forget the reaction of that lady and her male assistant. They both looked at me and laughed. And then she just took a deep breath, looked at me, and I have to really admire her honesty, because what she admitted to was basically the company committing illegal acts. So anyway, she looked me in the eye and she just told me point blank, "You're too damned old." And I just kind of, that sunk in for a little bit. And then she just continued on and said, we're not really looking for guys in your age bracket to be managers. We're looking for younger guys with MBAs who are, young, strong, ready to really be brainwashed by the company, I guess you could say. She didn't put it in those exact words. But yeah, the reason I was being overlooked for management wasn't because of my resume, wasn't because of my job ability, my job history, my ability to do the job that I'd been hired to do. And I think that I had potential for a management position. But the reason I was being overlooked was my age. So ageism. We hear a lot about sexism. We hear a lot about racism. Ageism is another one of those isms that technically I think it is illegal, at least in my state, to discriminate according to age, but companies do it. And rarely do they admit to it. And man, if I had had a pocket tape recorder on me in that interview, I may have decided to push it a little bit with a lawyer, but I didn't. And I mean, it would have been her word against mine. But I walked out of that meeting and I thought, is this really the kind of company that I want to build a future with? Or do I want to build something better? And I went home and I just thought about that. And I thought, you know what? I can scale up my home-based business, let this other company go, because, I want to work for a company that's honest, ethical, abides by the law, not breaking it. And I thought, I can build better than what I've left. If they won't give me a management position, then I'll just build my own with my own company. And that's what I did. And the final deciding factor was when my parents began to get sick and they were in their final years of life. Dad was coming down with vascular dementia and mom was showing the signs of pretty much almost full-blown Alzheimer's. It would be like her mind was slipping back into the 1920s. And it was like, we didn't want to put them into a nursing home. They were physically, they were still healthy enough to be able to stay at home. And they still had enough mental capacity to be able to take care of themselves for the most part. But my dad just sat down with me and he said, Ralph, we need a keeper. We need somebody to look after us. And I thought, I can't do that working a 12-hour, full-time job that takes me 12 hours, including travel time. And so I thought, if I let my full-time job go, I can earn a living from home, doing lawn care service for people in my local community, scale that up, and I thought I can do other things too. I could do house sitting, I could do pet sitting, and my wife and I just sat and we brainstormed other ideas. And we got looking at possibilities of earning income online, which we eventually ventured into. But we began to look at our options, and I thought, I can just let this full-time job that by that time I knew was a dead-end job for this old fella right here at the tender age of, what was it? I was in my 50s at that time. So I didn't really feel that old, but man, oh man, they thought I was old. But anyway, I thought, this is a dead-end job. If I was 30 years younger, there'd be a future in it for me. But I thought, no, I really don't want to waste any more time with that outfit. So I thought, I'll just let that go. Take care of things at home. Take care of the folks. Work the home-based business. Ratchet that up. Scale it up. Because by that time, the home-based business was already, paying me a good income as a part-time job. And I thought with a little bit more advertising in local newspapers, with a little bit more work, a little bit more hustle, and with me doing other things, trying to generate income online, I could eventually, make a full-time income from home. And so, I went in. It was in April, about 13 years ago, and said, look, boss, I've got my home business going. He knew that. And I said, it's really working into something pretty good, and I'm going to have to let this job go. So I gave him my 2 weeks notice, shook my hand, wished me luck, and then I got out of that place and just put my focus on building up my home-based business. And I've been doing that ever since. But it was not an easy process. It took a lot of time, took a lot of effort, and there were times when I was driving back home from my main job, and after working 12 hours there and then 4 hours mowing lawns for other people, doing my home-based business, there were times traveling home at night that I practically fell asleep at the wheel. And that was another warning sign that I was burning the candle at both ends too long. And I really had to commit to one or the other. But eventually I thought, okay, I'm going to just commit to the home job, commit to the home-based business, and let that other company go. And really looking back, that was the best decision I ever made. And home-based business has been providing us an income in one form or another for the last 13 years, gave me the ability to take care of my mom and dad in their golden years as they were losing their battles with vascular dementia and, heart problems and Alzheimer's disease. So now they're both past now, but, that really got me on track to be a work from home entrepreneur. And that's been a journey in and of itself, too, because when I first started my home-based business, I did not think of myself as an entrepreneur. I was thinking of myself as a self-employed guy. When you're employed, your job owns you. When you're self-employed, you own your job. And that's the way I thought about myself. I own this job, and I thought of myself as being self-employed. But then as I began to learn more about home-based business and entrepreneurship, began to see the possibilities that I had been overlooking. The possibilities of not being a self-employed person where you own your job, but being a business person where you own a business or a system that makes money for you even while you sleep. And that's the area that I've been going in the last few years, is leaving aside, the self-employed businessman mindset, where I've been doing lawn care. My wife and I have also been doing phone coaching and personal love and relationships type coaching with people, spiritual coaching with people. And, that's still, it's nice because you're able to do it from home. You're able to get paid for your skills, but you're still trading your time for your money. When you get a business that you can set up to run and make money for you while you sleep, you have the luxury of having separated your time from your money. And you can really scale without having to worry about putting in a 40-hour work week or a 60-hour work week or an 80-hour work week. When you're trading your time for money, either as a employed person or a self-employed person, you only have so many hours in the day. You only have so much of your time that you can sell to people in order to make a living. But when you're a business person, a business owner, a system owner that pays you while you sleep, you've got to build it up. You've got to put the work into it to make it work, to make it happen. But then once you've got it built up, you can be earning recurring residual income, recurring commissions and residual income that will be paying you while you sleep. And once you learn how to do your marketing well enough, you can get people clicking on your affiliate links and buying into your service at any hour of the day, whether you are awake or not. So when I began to learn about online business, affiliate marketing, and things like that, and saw how lucrative the online business world could be, I began to move in that direction. I've been going in that direction ever since. And that's the direction I'm focusing on right now. And my goal in my home business right now, 13 years ago, my goal was gas money for the car. Today, my goal is a 7-figure income by the end of fourth quarter this year. And I've got a plan in place. I'm committed to working it. And by gummy, I'm going to get there. That's going to be my goal, what I want to do, what I am going to accomplish. And so my goals have really increased. My mindset has really increased to the point where I've gone from seeing only limited possibilities to seeing where the possibilities are really endless. And that is a good place to be. But it took me time to get there. It took me a couple of years to really build up a part-time home-based business to the point where I felt comfortable taking it full-time. And then after taking it full-time, it took me, probably another 10 years to be able to see the wisdom in changing business models and go from trading my time for money and my wife's time for money, because, we were both doing phone coaching, essentially talking to clients for so much money an hour. And we have a good hourly rate for us and for them, for the customers too, for our clients. But I've gone from that way of thinking to thinking, how can we make money while we sleep and just totally disconnect our time from our income? And that's where I'm at now. And that opens the world of possibilities up tremendously. So if you want to get started in home-based business, I would say be committed to it and make sure you have the energy for it. And don't be afraid to work a full-time job and your home-based business on the side for however long it takes until you feel comfortable firing your boss. Because unlike what a lot of people think, this stuff does not happen overnight. It takes time to learn it. It takes time to practice it. It takes time to get good doing it. And it takes time to get it scaled to the point where you're making enough money to where you can live off of your home-based business. And in order to get there, you do have to have the level of commitment to where, you're not going to just throw in the towel and give up. Kind of like how I gave up on these podcasts a little over a year ago. I just didn't see the potential in it. I thought, it's costing me too much to really keep this account going with Spreaker, and wasn't really paying me that much by way of monetization. So I foolishly thought, I can do better someplace else. And I went to 2 other someplace else's and found out that what they had to offer was nowhere near the quality that Spreaker has. So I'm back here. But that's my last plug for Spreaker. And by the way, I am not an affiliate of Spreaker, but I am an affiliate of a company called the Home Business Academy. And that is what I am working in right now. It is an affiliate marketing school that teaches you how to do affiliate marketing right. And we have mentors who have been in the business for a couple of decades, a lot of experience. And we've got mastermind trainings that you can participate in, at the upper level, practically every day of the week except Sunday. And just a whole lot of quality in this program. So you can learn how to do affiliate marketing. And if you become an affiliate of the program, you can earn 80% recurring commissions when somebody buys using your affiliate link. So for every qualified sale that you make, you can be earning 80% recurring commissions. So if you want to check that out, I'll have the affiliate link in the program description below. But the web address is ralphshomebiz.com. That's www.ralphshomebiz.com. And if you got any comments, please let me know. Leave them in the comments section down below. I would especially like to know, what your interest is in home-based business and what topics you would like to hear me cover And if I can cover them, I will. But let me know in the comments section down below. So with that being said, this is Ralph now signing out. We'll catch you in the next podcast. Until then, have a great day and best of luck in whatever kind of home-based business activity you may be involved in, if any. And we will see you later. Bye-bye. Take care.